The dingo is a canine found throughout mainland Australia and is thought to have arrived about 5,000 years ago. It readily adapted to its new environment and quickly established itself as an apex predator. Today we'll be looking at how the lives of dingoes has changed over the last few decades and also be looking at the future of the dingo, where it's heading, can it be domesticated? Human-animal relationships are a strong feature of the dingo story and have dramatically influenced the way that they live their lives. In Aboriginal society, dingoes have a special place, which is reflected in the law, art and storytelling. Aboriginal people would take dingo pups and keep them as a quasi-pet. They provided companionship, warmth and helped with the hunting, but were never considered captive or property. They were free to leave when they wanted to, and typically did so when old enough. Meanwhile, in Europe, the hunter-gatherer way of life had been relegated to the past. Western thought had shifted to reflect the modern attitudes in which animals were seen as being lower in the natural order, a theory known as the Great Chain of Being. When Europeans arrived with their crops, tools, guns and animals, they also brought with them a very different worldview, influenced largely by the legal system, which saw animals as property and having little intrinsic value. The dingo's life was set to change dramatically. It was now considered a pest and a threat to the livelihood of agricultural families. A new narrative had been born in which the dingo was the enemy. Farm and station owners would now go to any length to protect their livestock. Dingoes were shot and poisoned, a practice that continues today. Eventually, people would even go so far as making a fence that goes right across the country from Queensland to South Australia. From this history, we can see then how the lives of dingoes has changed dramatically, largely due to human perception. This can be explained in terms of social constructionism, a theory developed by Berger and Luckman in 1966. It suggests that our reality comes about by a process of socialization. Social constructionists view this process as fluid and impermanent. For the dingo, it has always been more or less the same animal. Yet humans have constructed an identity for this animal, which has influenced how it lives its life. Another concept closely linked with social constructionism is the value or worth that we ascribe to things. When something is valuable for its own sake, it is understood as having intrinsic value. The opposite of this is extrinsic value, where something may only be worth what it can be exchanged for. Today, these two opposing value systems often exist in the same sphere. The environmental movement is a new addition to the scene and is generally aligned with the Aboriginal sentiment. People are once again becoming interested in the intrinsic value of this animal. There has been a lot of research into what effect dingoes actually have on the environment and may help to inform and assist our constructs. This has important implications in terms of the way we manage our interactions with the dingo. Agriculture is the cornerstone of our economy, and so farmers' views must be taken into account. On the other hand, farmers must also listen to new research and find a solution that suits everyone. Research findings are showing that dingoes help to control levels of introduced species, which in turn allows the endemic species to flourish more readily, creating an overall balance of biodiversity. Other research suggests culling leads to weakened packs, and therefore less socialized dingoes. This results in more aggressive behavior and more dingoes that are likely to attack livestock. Looking forward, it's interesting to think about what's in store for the dingo. The issue of hybridization is certainly an important one. It is estimated that 80% of dingoes carry non-dingo DNA, leaving the pure dingo as an endangered species. Conservationists are working hard to preserve this species. However, it is a difficult task to achieve in the wild with so much genetic contamination. If the dingo barrier fence were to be taken down, it could mean good things for biodiversity. However, for the dingo it could mean a further dilution of its genetic integrity. Domestication could be a solution, but we'd have to consider whether the dingo is appropriate for domestication. Domestication has been described by Edward Price as a process by which a population of animals becomes adapted to man and to the captive environment by some combination of genetic changes occurring over generations and environmentally induced developments recurring during each generation. Edward Price also suggests that there are certain qualities that make domestication favorable within species. The dingoes possess some of these qualities, such as dominance hierarchy, tameability, but also some non-favorable qualities, such as forming pair bonds with mates, territoriality, and strong independence. Nonetheless, they are genetically semi-domesticated and currently kept as pets, so the future may hold a different picture.